What's up, Radar Cars family, and anyone interested in not ripping muscles and tendons? If you don't want to look like this, or here's a close-up of this, and that's not even really as bad as it was. Basically what I did was I was doing my day one routine. I've been lifting for many years. I focused quite heavily on chest and shoulders, biceps, and deltoids and lats. Not so much on legs, but the good news is, now that my chest is out of commission for a while, I'm going to be working on these chicken legs. So I have been slacking off a little bit, been gaining a little bit too much weight. I have been consuming too much ice cream and things like that. So I was just sort of kind of getting back into it. I've been slacking a little bit on the weights. I usually do 2 days per week. I know it's not a lot, but I do basically all mass builders. My day one is mostly focusing on chest, and it is flat bench, incline bench, and decline bench press. I used to bench over 350 pounds when I was in my mid-20s. I don't actually go for that sort of weight now. I just sort of go for a maintaining weight with the goal of having a lot of muscle mass, not too much muscle mass, but just enough so that if I'm sitting here, the muscle is using energy enough so that I can eat things that I like once in a while. So I don't have to, eat salad all day. As long as you have muscle, those of you who work out, that takes energy for your body to maintain. So my idea of a workout is to do a lot of skeletal muscle training. I don't do any cardio. Maybe I'll start that someday. But I focus on strength training. And it's worked for me until last Saturday. So as I said, I was slacking off. So I had missed a few workout sessions. I haven't been going as heavy. I'd only been doing 1 day per week, so I've only been doing benching for a couple of months. And so my pulling exercises, my biceps, supporting muscles, etc., were getting weaker. I don't know if that contributed to what happened, but it could have. So I was doing my day one, doing my flat bench, my incline, and my decline. I was literally on my 9th set. I do 3 sets, I go heavy, about 10, 8, maybe 6 reps. So here's what happened. I was on my 9th set, which was my 3rd set of my decline bench. I was doing 200 pounds, which is not a lot, but like I said, I was trying to get back into it. And I probably should have, in retrospect, gone a little bit lighter and worked up into it a little bit more. Also did my 2nd day of training for a few more weeks before I increased the weight. But that said, I didn't. I was throwing up the weights fine on the incline and decline. I'm sorry, on the flat bench and on the incline. And on the decline, it was just going well. I had, those of you who are bodybuilders, you know that sometimes when you want to have an extra boost of strength, you think of something that angers you. And that's probably not necessarily a good thing to do, but I was using that methodology to help me lift. You could probably lift 10% more, maybe even more, if you're thinking of something that makes you angry when you're lifting heavy weights. So what I was doing to psych myself up was I was at Palmer Motorsports racetrack tracking my car this August, and I had an instructor. I was HPD E1, so you have to ride, well, you don't have to, but it's good to ride with an instructor, at least for the first few laps. I had a guy was a little bit rude, and I'm not the kind of guy who has a high tolerance for rudeness, so I was really kind of boiling about that. And that's a longer story, but at the end of the day, I said, look, I can't have this guy in my car anymore. I got a new instructor who was totally awesome. Long story short, I was using this guy to power my workouts, and believe me, you can power up a lot of weight if you think of something that makes you angry. So I was on my last set, my 9th set of the night, going heavy, 200 pounds, again, not that heavy, but when I'm trying to get back into it, it was probably a little bit too much in retrospect. So I was probably on my 5th or 6th rep, and I was just like, yeah, think of this guy, and this is the exact noise I heard. Just like that, right here in my ear. So I went to the ER, because as soon as that happened, luckily I do not use clamps on the end of the bar when I don't use a spotter, and I wasn't using heavy enough weight to require a spotter. So I was able to dump the weights off the right. I still had some strength left in my left, and I was able to dump the weights off and put down the bar. So I got up, I was shaking, obviously I was in pain. I was nauseous, and I was kind of not hyperventilating, but breathing really heavy. And when I sat down, I kind of felt better. I didn't feel so nauseous, but then when I got up again, I felt nauseous, and I was definitely shaking. So I went to the ER, and the doctor said it looked like I had torn my pectoralis major, probably right off the humerus. And if you guys probably already know this, but the muscle stretches across here, and it connects to a tendon, which connects to your upper arm bone here. So his thought was that I had probably torn off the tendon completely. This looks much better now than what it did over the past few days, but you can still see this is all blood here. It looks kind of gross. That's basically ripping the muscle here and then the gravity pulling it down. I had to immobilize the arm, you know, wearing the immobilizer and all that kind of good stuff. So I just finally got the MRI, and it looks like it probably would have been better if I did pull the tendon off, but I didn't. What I did is I tore the muscle halfway off at the tendon, which is a little bit more of a difficult situation because a tendon you can suture right to the bone and let it regrow, but you don't really have anything, you can't sew muscle. So that's where I'm at right now. So I gotta see a surgeon tomorrow to see what's going on. I think I got the feeling that normally this would be something that they would just let heal, but since I like to lift weights, pretty active, we may have to do a surgery on it. So what did I do wrong? I've been lifting weights for 20 years, over 20 years. I started when I was like 16 years old. I've never had a sports injury like this. I mean, once in a while, you know, my elbow hurt or whatever, and I'll just take it easy for a month and it goes away. I've never had anything happen like this. It's not age, because my friend who's 27 had an even worse injury, you know, doing incline press with dumbbells, and his just like ripped right off. So it doesn't matter what age you are, you can make the same amount of muscle mass if you're 70 years old or if you're 20 years old. Obviously you gotta take precautions if you're 70 years old. So I don't think age is a factor. It's probably a combination of just over fatiguing the muscle when I haven't been doing my day 2 for long enough, so I didn't have the balance of muscle, and I probably just overworked the muscle, went a little bit too heavy, tried to psych myself up to keep that explosive power all the way through the 9th set, and I think I just, you know, had a bout of misfortune and it just ripped. But yeah, share your comments and the thoughts. Let me know if you have any opinions on what you think I might have done wrong. But the general message is just be careful when you're out there. Don't overdo it. Don't go too heavy, too aggressively. And I'm also going to advise against trying to anger yourself, because I kind of feel like that's a lesson kind of from God. Jesus said, if you hate your fellow man, you are guilty of murder. And I kind of think that this is sort of a message. I forgive that guy for being a rude person at Palmer Motorsports. I shouldn't have been using him to power my workouts. So that's kind of another thing. Don't use anger and hatred to power your workouts. Just doesn't really work out for you in the end. Always be positive. So yeah, always remember the motto, guys. Always be kinder than necessary. I guess I wasn't being kinder than necessary when I was thinking of this guy while lifting, and I kind of regret that. So anyway, love you guys. If you like this, please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. This is mostly a car and motorcycle and guy tech channel. But I'd also consider like weightlifting and stuff like that guy tech. So. All right, guys. Sorry if you can't see me. I just have an update on the whole broken muscle thing. So I met a final specialist today, the surgeon. He said that I could go 2 ways. I can have a surgery, or I cannot have a surgery, and there's pros and cons to each one. If I have a surgery, I'd have to have it like immediately. I'd have had to go in tomorrow. They're gonna cut me open. They're gonna sew the muscle. So it turns out it is a muscle tear at the tendon. It's not a tendon tear, which is easier to fix, much easier to fix. It's much harder to sew muscles together. There's just not that much there to sew. So if I did have the surgery, I would run the risk of it tearing again during rehabilitation, and then they'd have to cut me open again and, you know, reoperate, etc. I run the risk of an infection, so they'd have to cut me open and clean it all out in there again. I would not be able to touch weights again for 6 months to a year. Now, if I don't have the surgery, I'm going to have a slight deformity. You can see the muscle fiber kind of hanging down under my arm a little bit. If I put my arms in a certain way, I'm going to lose some of the power for my bench press, probably about a 30% reduction in weight. And I may experience some cramping after lifting weights sometimes. So I chose not to have the surgery. I'm going to put it in God's hands, ask Him to heal me. If I don't have the surgery, I can be lifting in as little as 6 weeks. So I think it's better to not have the surgery and just, you know, start lifting again. Here's the thing, guys. He said that I fatigued the muscles. You really shouldn't be doing 3 mass building exercises on one body group, like the chest, like I had done. I mean, I've been doing that for many, many years.
but I guess it just finally caught up with me. Like I said, I was in my 9th set. I was going all out, trying to psych myself up, and just bam, it ripped the muscle. So I'm never going to do 3 sets of bench again. I'm sorry, 9 sets of bench again. I'm probably just going to stick to flat bench and incline from now on. A lot of people think that decline doesn't really do much anyway. So lesson learned, you don't want to over fatigue your muscles lest they rip. But feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. As always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary. See you in the next one.